Well, good morning, everybody. It's Ruthie Rocks here for a happy Wednesday. And let's look at what's going on in Las Vegas. Some things have changed. We are losing some inventory. We're down to 24.3, which means we're right around the corner from 22. To 23 and then 22. So we're not getting enough listings. You only listed 39 homes yesterday, for heaven's sakes. My goodness, that's not enough. We needed like over 100. You closed 90, you put 99 under contract, but total listed was only 51. So we've got to step up our game here and get some listings. Of course, I know sellers probably aren't having a lot of appointments, maybe because of going to school and everything, but 24 days. And of the $400,000 and under homes that were listed yesterday, only 16 of them were under 400,000. Then we only have 910 active homes under 400,000. So that is not very many, considering that we're selling 118 homes a day average for the month. Last year, we were only doing 99, but that was a different time. So I want to draw people's attention today. I came up with this from listening to Tom Ferry, which we're going to listen to today. Good morning. Good to see you. So 31% of the homes this year, total sales, they are people that are buying more than 10 homes at a time. So they are buying those to rent. Okay, they are buying those to rent. And then the iBuyer platforms have closed 7.2%. So that means 38.2% of your sales this year have gone to other than the agents, let's say. They've gone to LLCs, bulk buyers, and to the iBuyers. Tom's going to talk a little bit about this today and what he predicts. And I will tell you that one of the things, the statistics he's going to say, and he says we're 5 years away. I think we're 2 or 3 years away from losing a bigger percentage of our inventory to other interlopers. So we're going to listen to that in just a moment. I'll get started because it does take about 25 minutes. And it's really good information. So without further ado, I want to mention one other thing. The median price today for the first 18 days of August went down to an average of 403,000. So we'll see what happens. That means there's indicators that the market is softening. So we're not putting as many under contract. Our average daily is 118, and it was in July up to 140. So good morning, Karen. How are you doing? Just wondering how y'all are feeling, if you're feeling like the market slowed down a little bit. It has. 118 is a lot lower than 149. So the market has slowed down. It could be the time of the year, but we shall see probably after Labor Day how things pick up before the holiday slowdown. So let's get on with the show today because I'm very excited to have this. Now, I attended the 9-hour deep dive back in March. And yesterday we played Gary Vee talking about some questions about marketing and what he thought of the market. But today we're going to listen to what Tom Ferry has to say. And I am going to get it going because we had some technical difficulties yesterday. So I'm going to move him up to, let's see, I think 18 minutes in. So give me a minute to do that. And
Google business page, Google.
Let's get him back here. Back to 18.
You're doing everything versus being Lady Gaga.
Come on.
Who doesn't carry the mic.
Okay, we got that. That's Tyler.
Exciting stuff for you guys to learn from the industry's leaders. So Tom should be jumping in here any second now for you guys to hear from him. But let me jump in these comments to see what you guys are yearning to learn about today. So content, sustainability, efficiency in social media posting. Yes, so efficiency in social media posting, that's one thing for sure. After Tom and after Gary, Chelsea Pites She's going to give an amazing session around Instagram, posting strategy, consistent content. So a lot of these speakers, a lot of the sessions, if you guys haven't checked out the landing page for the conference to see the speakers, the time slots, the sessions themselves, be sure to do that so you guys can tune in to exactly who you want to hear. So let me jump in here real quick. Let me get Tom in here. I see he is backstage. Give me 1 second.
Tyler Anderson is a great commentator. He's put together this deep dive into real estate, and it's really good. So come on, Tyler, let's roll it here.
Sorry, guys, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty.
It's not just me.
Getting Tom in the stream. Give me 1 second.
I'm going to see if I can advance
a
little bit here.
Let's see. What I'm going to do as we wait for
I can't get him.
Let's see.
Just to be clear, I think I go for 40 minutes. Let me do a little Q&A.
Yes, exactly. So you're going to go for about 30 minutes or so, actually, or about 40 minutes, 35 minutes with a 5-minute Q&A that I'll be moderating all the comments.
Got it.
So I'll jump backstage so you can do your thing.
Cool.
I'll be moderating the comments, and then Gary's going to jump in at around 10:40. So then your Q&A will be with Gary at 10:40. So
Fun.
Yep.
All right, well, let's jam. I mean, for everybody out there, I'm going to assume you have some context for me. I'm actually going to share my screen, and Tyler, I will make all my slides available for you so you can share them with everybody else. So you can see I'm putting up, yes, it's actually 8 consecutive years, Tyler, 8 years in a row. Not that I'm competitive or anything. But look, if we haven't connected on social, let's absolutely connect some way, shape, or form there. I'm probably the most active on Twitter and Instagram and obviously YouTube. I've been playing around with Clubhouse as everybody else is, but I noticed that's waning a bit. That could be a sign of the times. It means everybody out there is super busy. So I want to talk about something that I have been sharing with a lot of my top clients. So just for context, I'm living in Dallas. I work with right now about 161 of the most successful teams in the US and Canada and Mexico, and then not including my Europeans and Aussies, but just the peeps I can get my hands on. In the last 30 days, I've had basically 3 groups of some of the most successful men and women, from Lisa Chinati, 1,500 transactions, Tommy Toole, 400, 500 transactions, James Suarez, who's on pace to do, call it $800 million in sales, Andy C., who's on pace to do $1 billion in sales from Silicon Valley. All these men and women all coming in with basically the same mindset. Like, they're sensing the changes that I've been talking about for the last 18 months, and they're on the ground feeling it every day. And I want to share some of that insight with you guys, because everybody's here because they want to build their brand. They want to become better in marketing. This is not a conference you go to because you want to just avoid working for the day. So I'm gonna speak to you as if you were one of my personal clients, which means I have an obligation to protect you from what I know is coming. So the first thing I'm telling everybody is it's almost like a trifurcation right now of real estate professionals. The last number that I looked at was, let's call it middle of March, 40% of all agents in the US had not closed a transaction. 40% of all the licensed agents had not closed a deal. Think about that. But the balance is this sort of bifurcation between 2 groups, people that I see as stuck and people that I see that are scaling. The people that are stuck, let's be very clear, they're selling houses, right? One of them I was talking to, I'm not going to name her name, she would be pissed. She did 145 transactions last year, call it $4 million in commissions. But guess what? Stuck is she's out of time. Stuck is she's blaming resources. Stuck is she can't attract enough listings. Stuck is her brand isn't big enough. She's not getting the kind of, we would call it come list me calls. I call it I trust you calls. So basically she's hit a self-imposed glass ceiling versus the men and women I'm working with that are scaling their businesses. And if you just take a look at it from this perspective, ready? Stuck agents at a time, right? They're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's never enough inventory. But what it really is for some of you is you're just understaffed for your ambition, right? Like you have big ambition, but you don't have enough people around you to help you execute. So you're doing everything versus being Lady Gaga, who doesn't carry the mic bag. She gets up, she performs, and that's it. And maybe that's you. Maybe it's not. Maybe you like, I don't know, moving the microphone around, and you like, carrying the equipment. You want to do everything. I hope not. But what they really are, the stuck agents, is they're vulnerable to the market conditions. They're vulnerable to the competition that's coming versus the scaling agents. You guys can all read it. I'm making it easy for you, right? The scaling agents are scaling their reach and their trust. They're scaling their reach and their trust, and they're scaling through new methods of marketing. And I believe that's why you're here. You're trying to figure out, what can I do better, faster, first in my marketplace before everybody else? So let me just ask you 3 questions, right? To sort of preface where I'm going. The first thing is, like, for context, being in this conference, you should ask yourself, number 1, what are my top 3 goals for the year? So at least you're listening through the filter of the things you want to accomplish. I want to list 80 homes, right? I want to do $1 million in GCI. I want to build a world-class team and become number 1 in my marketplace. Whatever your goals are, listen through that filter. But I believe the next 2 questions are the key questions for smart agents today. One is to clearly identify, what are my constraints of growth? What is stopping me? What is holding me back from going out and achieving what I want to achieve? What are the biggest obstacles I need to solve for in my business in the short term to make sure that I win in 2021? But the bigger question, and the question that I brought in all these top agents, and I've got 170 of them coming to Dallas in a couple of weeks, right, to meet for 2 days just to work on this question. What are my most important future-proof my business initiatives for 2021? Specifically, what are you going to focus on right now to prepare for what's coming? What are you going to work on this year? Not just how do I take more listings? How do I get my offers accepted? How do I get more digital? Hey, Facebook ads are clearly going away. What am I going to do? Zillow's taking over more and more of the world. What am I going to do? We're focusing on what are the business initiatives to essentially, like as Warren Buffett would say, dig a deeper moat around your castle, around your business, right? To future-proof your business. What are you focusing on right now for 22, 23, 24, 25? I'll give you an example. Back in 2015, which now feels like 100 years ago, I got up on stage at my annual conference, and in a admittedly vulnerable state, I said, with my experience of, call it at that point, 30,000 hours of coaching and being in the industry since I was 18, I'm like, it's pretty obvious the trends in the marketplace. The first one was teams are going to just completely cremate it, right? They're going to take over the world. Like my client, George Lofton and JB, get healed, man, get healed. They did 3,100 transactions last year. They're a team, not a brokerage, a team. And they did 3,100 transactions, right? Jim Allen in North Carolina, like 1,500 transactions, a team, not a brokerage. So total team domination, check the box, right? The number 2 thing was teams are going to start selling because of the big companies out there that couldn't buy enough independents. They're publicly traded. They needed to scale. And we've seen that, right? My partner at Real Trends, Steve Murray, they've had 65 teams sell. I'm not talking about bought for stock, wrote a big check to get them to join the company. I mean, they bought their LLC, they bought their C Corp, they bought their S Corp, and the broker now owns the team, not the agent. And it's happening every day, my friends. So we knew that was right. But the one I want to talk to you about today is commission compression. So back in 2015, remember, I've been doing this since 1989. So, you have context for like the early days of the internet when the discount brokers really showed up, when people were running, huge billboard ads, list for 1%. I really thought it was going to be more of a consumer play. I thought the consumer demand, I thought the inability for agents at scale to prove their value, to demonstrate their value, that was going to be the factor. But I was wrong. I was wrong, dead wrong on this trend. Commission compression is happening, but let's go back in time a little bit, right? This statement right here, Darwin would talk about like, it's not the strongest that survive. It's not the fastest that survive. Darwin talks about it. And I modify his conversation. And I say, business is economic Darwinism. Business doesn't care what you think. The market will continue to market and adjust and adapt and change, because those of us that adapt, we're the ones that thrive. Those of us that get ahead of the curve, those of us that innovate, we're the ones that win. And those that don't, they suffer the consequences. You know it, and I know it. But think about it. For as long as I've been in the business, this has basically been the model. This is how we've carved up our 11 million sides in the US. You got, 8 or 9%, they're for sale by owner market. You got wholesalers out there, right? We buy ugly houses, intentionally they're in yellow. And the balance essentially was real estate agent controlled. And even inside there were discount agents, there was discount brokers, but it was real estate agents, right? And I started making the argument back in 2018 that I thought it was going to start to look more like this. Right. And maybe my pie graph is off, by a tad, but the FSBO market really didn't go away. The wholesalers didn't go away. iBuyer, maybe it's only at, 5%, right? If you're really paying attention with all the now publicly traded companies that are doing it. The hybrid model, which we're going to get into in a minute, that's everybody taking now a commission directly from the agent, right? And we've been doing this forever in this industry. Relocation did it forever, right? But like this is a factor. So I'm sitting with all these top clients and they're like, where do you think it's going? What do you think is the future? And I'm like, I would bet everything I own on this, that I believe this is the future of real estate, that you're going to still have a FSBO market because there's always going to be a DIYer. Like they're just always going to be there. And iBuyer, maybe they move the needle a little bit. But, I think most of us are pretty savvy enough to know that, that's going to be a hard one for them to do, especially as the market softens in 22 or 23, right? But the two bigger chunks, that's the part that I'm saying to my clients, that I believe that 50% of every transaction in the US is going to have a referral fee associated to it, whether it's 25% up to 42% with relocation, 50%, because advertising rules are changing. Privacy rules are changing, and a lot of really well-funded marketeers. And I'm not just referring to Zillow, my friends. Rocket, Mello, Ojo, you can go right down the line. Homeline. There's mortgage companies to portals to agent-agent referrals. The inability for most agents to protect themselves and build their brand and be savvy with their marketing is going to cost them 25 to 42% across the board. That's my prediction. You guys are the first people that I'm actually saying this publicly in a slide outside of some small conversations with my personal clients. And I believe the balance will have that, no referral fee, just a direct agent transaction, 2.5%, 3%, whatever your bag minus your splits. So if this is the future of real estate, if this is where it's going, right? And look, I'm not Nostradamus, but when you do what I do for as long as I do it, and you spend enough time and you've listened to 1,000 pitches from, companies that are raising capital, that want to go disrupt the industry, that want to get in the way of the industry, that want to support the agents and everything else, it looks pretty obvious to me. I'm not sure what your opinion is because I got slides up and I can't see all the comments, but think about it. Just think about it. So the question then becomes, how do we build your brand and defend your position against the competition? How do we build your brand and defend your position against the competition? I've only got 7 things, but I got a lot of slides and I'm going to rip through it. And then we'll do some Q&A. And I think it's going to be interesting to see, the questions that get asked coming out of this. And yes, you'll get a copy of the slides, look at them, make some notes, and then attack. Because the 7 things I'm going to ask you to do are actually very actionable and things that you can do ASAP. And the ones that have already done it are already winning because of it, because they're, again, as Warren Buffett would say, they're digging the moat deeper around their castle, making it harder and harder for those people that are trying to attack your business and take your money away. They're making it harder for them, not easier. Does that make sense? So here's the first one. Should be pretty obvious. Over-index on Google reviews. Over-index on Google reviews. And this one, my friends, when you think about it, obviously getting your business page done. But I'm going to go back to this one first. Right? I'm assuming you've got your business page done, but I threw it inside there just in case. If you don't have your Google business page done, please do that today. I don't care where you are in the world. It is a no-brainer. And last time I checked, it is the #1 searched site on the planet, only second to YouTube. You with me on this? But here's the kicker. You ready? What we saw over the last 7 to 8 years was the review economy, that consumers were literally finding you on Zillow, finding you on Realtor, finding you on Yelp, whatever it may be. And they were literally saying, I like her. I like her smiling eyes. And more importantly, we know that reviews from back in the day, one of my best friends on the planet, Ken Carey, is one of the leading infomercial producer, writer, directors. If you saw anything with Chuck Norris, Christy Brinkley, Banjo Fishing Rod, Ford, right? 25 to 30 infomercials a year, of which 70% of every infomercial was a review, a testimonial, someone saying, I got thin thighs in 30 days or less without diet and exercise. And yet I know agents today that of all of their 28 or 200 or 1,000 reviews on Zillow, and look, I'm friends with the guys at Zillow, but they've made it very clear their position and the direction that they're going. So it should be obvious that if you don't switch and go ham on your Google reviews, thinking about my 19-year-old son when I said ham, I got a little laugh from my producer here. So you think about it, like you need to start adding 5-6 reviews every single day. Don't send an email to your entire database and say, would you please write a review? Because you might get 400 or 500 and then Google will think they're spam and they'll close them all down and it was for nothing. So instead, it needs to be a daily discipline for you between now and the end of the year to start future proofing your business by making sure you've got more reviews on Google than any other site. Number 2, I'm blown away. And again, I'm not razzing some of my best clients. These are some of the most successful teams on the planet. Only 40% of them have their business pages done, which means 60% of some of the most successful teams in the country, even though they've got their Boomtown site, their Ylopo site, they've got an About Me page, they've got all this other stuff done, but they didn't have their Google business page done. And that's going to be really key for you to continue to defend your position, because unlike Facebook, that I think is going to be in a lot of trouble when it comes to ads, Google's not going to be. And Google will always be, at least for the short term. Let's never say always, but Google for the short term is going to continue to win, right? So you need to be positioned properly. Does that make sense? Let's go to number 3. And again, this one I know you guys are going to hear nonstop. Jason Pantana is going to talk to you from my team tomorrow about content and the content that's really moving the needle. The thing that I want to stress to you is content's going to make you searchable. So if you're not pumping out content on a regular basis, you know what happens? What people don't get today, like I launched my YouTube channel in 2007, then my second one in 2009, and I was on like Friendster, I was on MySpace. It was just obvious back then. And I remember some people coming out and literally saying, if you don't, put content on social, you're not going to be relevant. And that was happening in like 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And to a certain extent, I think they were trying to fear you into posting on Facebook, hitting the live button on Instagram or whatever it may be. And look, the reality is we've seen some agents' brands absolutely blow up. TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, absolutely blowing up. And they're becoming celebrities in their marketplace. But as advertising shifts and privacy becomes more and more the issue because of Apple and others, what's going to happen is it's this. How are you going to be findable? Like the average consumer moves every 10 years. That's the data. The average consumer moves every 10 years. So if you move every 10 years, let's just do a hypothetical. Your spouse says, you haven't been to the grocery store in 10 years, go buy chips. And you show up on this aisle and you're like, I don't even know what to do, right? Like, where do I start? What flavor? What do you mean? There's pickles now, there's flaming, there's salt and vinegar. This is how consumers view real estate professionals, right? Because if you're all the same and I'm just looking online or I'm on a broker website and it's just this, right? What's going to stand out is the person that created the most content. It's the person that shot the most videos. It's the person that answered the questions that were most relevant to me. That's who's going to stand out, my friends. Alternatively, like people say to me, how do we solve this? And I'm like, look, I've been doing this forever. Like this ain't the solution, right? There's actually a lot of success in billboards, but I think like, unless you're only trying to attract people that like an Asian guy with no hair on his chest, like there you go, right? Like, and this is actually like still all time one of my favorites, but this one, how about this one, guys? Like that's real. Like that was like taken from a cell phone, like bang, right? Like Peter Clavin, I'm sure got a lot of come list me calls, or he just got a lot of phone calls, right? But it's classic, right? The things that we naturally go towards are about shock value, right? It's about, oh my God, like I'm going to make the phone call, like, whoa, like even just looking at this one, like it's kind of disgusting, right? But people do this kind of stuff versus what we know is more relevant today, right? What we want to do is we want to create more trust. Go back to the scaling versus stuck. The scaling agents have figured out, I want to scale my reach and I want to scale my trust. I want to find my tribe. I want to create content that is meaningful to a segment of the marketplace, starting with my own database and every lead that I've ever spent money on, Facebook and others. I want to create content that is familiar to them, right? Through frequency, that I'm touching them on a regular basis, giving them a little taste of me, So I become the most relevant person for them. I stay TOM, top of mind. Does that make sense? Now, if you look at like Oberlo, right? I did a whole podcast on this about 10 days ago that's blown up. 81% of consumers prefer to watch a video to learn before they decide. If you Google Oberlo top 10 trends of video, you'll basically have to say to yourself, okay, if this is the way it is, and I'm not on video, what you're basically saying is I'm okay having 50% of all my transactions have a 42% referral fee associated to it because I've simply been diminished, right? I've been diminished. It's like the perfect storm is happening right now in our space, my friends. Forget interest rates, forget the shortage of inventory, because those interest rates are interest rates. Solvable to get more listings, better marketing, make more phone calls. Like it's super solvable. But the stuff that's coming at you that you're not paying attention to, those forces, that's what I'm trying to bring my personal clients' attention to. So what do we know? Video is king, always and forever. TV, right? To now your cell phone, to Hulu, to you name it, right? The joke is if the Titanic went down today, this is what everybody doing. Like they'd literally be like freezing and saying, oh man, are you getting this? Hey, can I like tether to you? Like I need some more Wi-Fi. Like that's the world we live in today. And I know agents in 2021 that don't have their own show. I know agents in 2021 that don't go live on a weekly basis on Facebook or Instagram or whatever your favorite channel is where your clients are. It is shocking to me to think that you can say, I don't look good on camera. I don't sound good. I'm not sure, what I would say to people. What do you do when you show up on an appointment? You scare people and shock them? No, you are who you are. You are a flavor. I am a flavor. Every presenter over the next 2 days, we are flavors. Some of you will like us. Some of you won't. Who cares? Some like chocolate, some like vanilla, some like chocolate chip. I don't care. You with me? Do you find your tribe? That's the answer. Do you find your tribe? That's the answer. 65 views on a video. Try making 65 door knocking contacts. Try making 65 contacts over the phone. I'll take the 65 views on a video every day of the week and then do one every day and watch what happens. Now, number 4 on my list. So Google business page, Google review, create more content. Number 4 is email is killing it right now. For the agents that have a regular weekly email to their database, well, think about it like this. For every dollar you're spending right now on email marketing, you're getting a 44x return on investment. Spend a dollar, make 44. Spend a dollar, make 44. Think about that. Like the only things that are greater than that in terms of ROI right now, ROR, return on relationships, and your direct mail to your geographic farms, right? Those 3 are producing the highest return on investment. Spend a dollar, make 17. Spend a dollar, make 55. Spend a dollar, make 16 as an example. But email right now, this is like the American Association of Direct Response Marketing. Like email is where it's at, my friends. So my buddies over at Boomtown, which I am an investor in long time ago, love Greer Allen and everybody in that culture. We did a little research piece. You could see it here. Size does matter. If you've got 1,000 people inside your email address account that you're emailing to on a regular basis, past clients, sphere, and then leads, on average, those people were doing $14 million in volume. People with 100,000 people in their database doing $220 million in volume on average. Think about the average sales price, $300,000, right? They're selling a lot of real estate, and email is a major factor. And yet most people have not dug that moat in their database. They have not dug that moat around their business. And I want you to do that. So the other thing is you need to be thinking about how you're going to build up your database, because as Facebook continues to change, what are you going to do? You're going to take your 40,000 person email account list, your 4,000 emails, and you're going to upload them into Facebook custom audiences, right? So you're still going to be able to do that. It's the pixels and a lot of those things that we've used for the last couple of years. That's the stuff that's going away, my friends. So please listen to me. Listen to me. Build up your email marketing database. Very important. Double opt-in. Don't be a spammer. All right. Number 5 is you got to dominate with direct mail. So it was really interesting in one of the meetings, and I want to be mindful of not sharing some of the personal deets. The 2 highest, most profitable agents in one of my masterminds were the 2 that basically, well, I'll just give you the names. Andy C. from Intero Real Estate in Northern California, 125,000 direct mail pieces to the Golden Triangle of Silicon Valley twice a month, but only for 8 years. And then Josh Rubin, New York City, Douglas Elliman, right? In New York City, if you know anything about the market last year, it was rough until about November, December. And now they're flying in all the right directions. And Josh, right, had still had a monster year. And it is direct mail that continues to get him his come list me calls. But it's not one thing, my friends. It's not being myopic. It's doing all of these things to protect your brand, to protect your business, to make sure that you're getting those full fee deals, not always a referral fee associated to it. Does that make sense? So look, whether it looks like this once a quarter, here's how many homes you sold, here's the local market data, here's some things to do in the area, right? Like, it doesn't have to be complicated, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. Number 6, being mindful of time, Tyler, because I know we're gonna do a bunch of Q&A here, so I'm ripping. Number 6 is make your damn phone calls. So it is so funny how much I don't know, slack I get, let's just call it for what it is. Because I will like literally do a post and be like, make your phone calls. And people are like, Ferry, they like associated me with my dad who like, I want to punch you. If you want to say something bad about my dad, I will fly to you and punch you. He is my dad. Remember that. Like, he's my pops. He would back in the day say, hey, circle dialing, which by the way works right now. Circle dialing works right now, calling around recent sales. But I'm not even saying that. I'm saying call the people that already know you and like you and trust you. Call your database. Play a game with me. And again, I can't see the comments because of the way we're doing the slides today. But if you grabbed your phone right now and you actually just went to your contacts, all of you should do this right now. Go to your phone, go to your contacts, go down past the pound sign, past the Z. I've got 5,467 contacts in my phone. 5,467 contacts in my phone. You should figure out what that number is in your phone. You could maybe take 800 of those away because there are agents in the marketplace that you know. It just says Larry 5551212 and you have no idea who he is. By the way, I would call that guy anyway and try and figure it out. The point is, I would bet with a savvy group of marketers like all of you watching right now, I bet you have an average of 2,000 people in your phone. So if you have 2,000 people in your phone and you take 500 out for agents, you got 1,500 people in your phone. And here's what you have to understand. If you look at the data right now, the major data providers in the US, you know them and I know them. So I don't even have to tell you who I'm talking about. Like, you know, right? Just think Silicon Valley and it's them. And guess what? They're all saying the same thing. The movability score right now, the trailing 12-month data that they're tracking beyond just the death, divorce, and default, like the signals, like a reevaluate, shout out to them, or House Canary as an example, shout out to them. Like the signals that these companies are seeing are showing like 12% of the people in the country are thinking about making a move right now. Like, it's bonkers. Now, is it 12%? Of course not. It's 138 million homes in the US, right? So of course not. But the signals are all there. And there are people watching this right now that have not called their entire database. And yet you're running ads to find cold people. I want to punch you in the face. Like, what are you thinking? You're trying to get cold when you already have lukewarm in your phone. How do you defend your position? You make your phone calls. So Renee Funk is going to talk to you, I think today or tomorrow. Huge shout out to Renee. By the way, Renee, if you're watching, I had dinner last night with Carrie McGee and RJ and the gang, right? And they just love you. And I have so much respect for her. We were doing a clubhouse and she's like, you know, Tom, the question right now to ask people into your database is right here. How has COVID in the last year of the pandemic changed the way you feel about your home? Think about this question. Like, you build rapport. Hey, friends, family, what's going on? How you guys doing? Just checking in. Hey, I wanted to ask you, because I'm asking every single person in my database one question. And once you answer it, I'll share what everybody else is saying. How has COVID in the last year of the pandemic changed the way you feel about your home? What most of you don't get is right now, like, there are people in your database that literally tonight at 5:30 your time zone, they're going to close their laptop. Their spouse is in the closet, right, of the master bedroom, because that's where he works. And she's going to close the laptop, and the 4-year-old, the 7-year-old, the 8-year-old, and the dog are to come screaming by. And spouse comes out and says, how's your day? And she's like, wow, my manager just told me we're not going back to the office for 2 more years. And she's sitting at the dining room table of her home. She closes her laptop with frustration and says, we need a new home. And he's like, yep. And bam, they open up their laptop. And do they go to your website? Do they search you? Or do they go to Zillow, Realtor, Trulia, Redfin, you name it? You know the answer, my friends. So if you're not willing to make the phone call, it's okay. Someone else will. Someone else will. And then don't be mad when a major percentage of your past clients are going to other sites and you may or may not get them back and pay a 35 to 42% referral fee. It's just the game. You're the one that chose to be wrapped up in one of the greatest real estate markets and not be thinking about future-proofing your business. I'm not being a jerk. I care passionately about this industry. I have a lot of customers that I'm thinking about right now, and I want to wring some of their necks because they're so wrapped up in the offer that didn't get accepted, or the frustrated buyer, or the listing that they sold for $40,000 over asking in 14 seconds without even putting it in the MLS. I got it. But what are you doing to future-proof your business? That's the question. 554. 5 in your database, 5 outside of your database, 4 follow-up calls every day, because we all know all the money's in follow-up. I think Kyle Whistle is also speaking during this, which is Kyle's like one of my favorites. Like, he's the king of follow-up, celebrating. We've all been on this lead for 7 years, and they finally bought a house from us. Like, I have such mad respect for anybody that does that. 5 in your database, 5 outside of your database, right? 4 follow-up calls every day. That's the discipline. You brush your teeth, you do your 554. You brush your teeth, you do your 554. That's how you win. Now, last one, easy, number 7, Google local services ads. Might already be too late. Raluca Mane, a buddy of mine at Google, now runs the part of the Chrome division, called me like November, December and said, hey, Google local services ads, like consumers are typing in best real estate agent in, the Museum District of Dallas. And it'd be good if like all of your clients showed up on those ads, and the ones that are doing it and spending $50 a week, I'm literally like $50 a week. I'm spending $500 a week. Like, you want to control that experience in your marketplace. It's another way that you will defend your position in the marketplace for what is coming, my friends. It's another way you will defend your position with what's coming. So winter is coming. I had to throw it in there. I was a huge Game of Thrones fan, so I can't help it. But we know what happens. He gets stabbed in the end. Sorry if that's a buzzkill and you didn't know. But here's the thing. Winter isn't a bad real estate market. That's not the winter that's coming. What's coming is the arbitrage, the disintermediators, the ones that recognize that the 1.5 million agents in the US suck at marketing and won't even nurture their own past clients and won't do the obvious things to defend their position. And those men and women, like, God bless them all, but they're going to suffer. They're going to sell the same and earn less. Like, that's the future of real estate, if you were asking me. So I'm asking you now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to future-proof your business? What are the initiatives? What can you say from this list? Check, 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 already done. And then where do you need to go all in? Where do you need to really go all in to make sure you win? Because that's what I want from you. I want you to win. So as I wrap and I turn it over to Tyler, and then we'll do a little Q&A. If we haven't connected in some way on social, let's do that. But Tyler, stop sharing and I'll come back to you. Amazing stuff, Tom. My favorite part is probably, first and foremost, I apologize. It's 8, not 7. It's all good, man. When you're a dynasty like the Celtics in the 60s, it's hard to keep track, man. So kudos to you. Thanks, man. The Google logo. Okay, by the way, I love your entire backdrop. Like, I worked out with Kobe Bryant for 2 years, a year before he passed. So I've got that same thing. Love Tom Brady, not so much. Love the Michael Jordan. So love it, love it, love it. Sorry to interrupt, but just had to give you a little shout out. You're good. Yeah, we're in Lakeland, right near Tampa. So big Bucks fan. One thing that really stuck out to me was your visual of the chips in the aisle. That's so important to really visualize that now. One question, Gary has actually jumped in here, so I'll get him into your Q&A with him. But before we do, I want to ask one question from a user here or an attendee. What is the one thing going from a stuck agent to a scaling agent? What can someone implement today, do you think? So it's hard because there's a lot of things that actually create that. The first thing I would say is if you don't have a full-time assistant, that's the first move. If you have a full-time assistant, a full-time marketing director for your business, right? Recognizing, and I'm sure Gary will say it, and Gary's been saying it to my clients since 2009. You're a media company, first and foremost, right? Your job is to get your word out at scale across every platform. So the second one would be looking at that marketing director. If you're in the high end, it would be having full-time showing agents. I didn't say buyer's agents, I said showing agents. So full-time concierge experience, beautiful for your luxury buyers, but you're no longer going to the first, second, third showing. You're showing up when it's time to negotiate the deal. Those 3 moves, the fourth one that's going to sound funny, housekeeper, someone to cook your meals, someone to take care of everything so you can be Lady Gaga and stop doing your laundry. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense. So it's so relevant because we at Dippity here, we focus on the marketing digital, side of things so they can focus on that side. So I might steal that reference there.
Yeah.
So Gary jumped in here. Let me get Gary into the stream. What's going on, Gary?
Dude, is that a Dunkin' Donuts cup?
So Karen wanted to know if I could send her the show. Yes, I can. And I can send you where you can get the YouTube, and you can play the parts of it that you want to play, like I've done. Yesterday we did Gary V, the follow-up, which is now. And then you can pick out the parts that you want to play over and over again, especially if you're hiring new agents or if you're trying to inspire your agents or if they're stuck. This information he went really fast, which I really liked. And he had real estate isn't difficult. Get a farm, make your phone calls, make your videos, get your Google business page. And just keep going and going and going and going. And I made a point that, he doesn't even bring up our market. That's probably not what's happening in our market, excuse me. And that is 31% of our sales are people coming in as cash buyers buying more than 10 homes. And those are the LLCs, the corporations, not the big guys. The big guys are buying the casinos, but the small LLCs, which we could all do. You can all get 10, 15 people together and you can have an investment club. We used to do that back in the day. So that's a big part of our business too. So the iBuyers have already taken up 7.2 of our business. The people with the cash buyers that are buying are 31% of our business. So, that's already 38% of our business. And now he's saying it's going to get worse because the other interlopers are going to come in. But there's, okay, so that's winter is not coming if you're out there doing the things you should be doing. It's a relationship business. That's what Gary Vee said yesterday. It's not transactional, it's relationship. You just continue to build those relationships over time and you'll be fine. I got to go. We're running really late today. We're having a class tomorrow on building your Google business page. It's so important. There's so many little nuances that you need to do so that when they do Google you, you come up and they see that you're in business. And hopefully your website's an Agent Formula website because they're going to click on it. And you want that video to be on the front page, which is on the front page of our classic front page. We have a modern, which is like the search for homes. And then we have the classic, which is the video on the front page. People want videos. 81% of people would rather watch a video than anything. It's always been on the front page of our website. And you can even make a video of yourself and put it on the front page. So love you all. See you tomorrow.